Episode of What Do I Do When I Can't Fly? I've got to say I'm sorry about the lack of video content coming out, but with all the lockdown and not being able to fly, I didn't really want to bore you with all my car details. So here we go, more car work. And to start off with on the car, which I flattened down the paint with some 2000 grit wet and dry. As you can see, it's all a bit satin. And then, after flattening it down, on with the buffing wheel. So this just to get the shine back, progressively working around with different grades of cutting compound. And you can see it's getting quite a good shine. On the wet and dry side was taking out mainly any bits of dust and dirt which were in, and I was surprised at how few I actually had at the end of the day. So a quick look around the body before we put it back together, and you can see it got quite a good shine. In fact, it looks remarkably good. And there's the chassis, rolling chassis ready to go with its engine, 2 litre straight 6. Fully rebuilt already in. Gearbox, which I fully stripped and rebuilt. There's some photos towards the end of the video which will show what state some of these bits were in. And the rear suspension, which again was completely rebuilt, and the differential was stripped and reshimmed to make it within tolerance. So now we've introduced the characters, time to bring down the curtain. Well, actually, to be precise, the tent I was using as a spray booth. So as I said in the last video, basically this whole lot was done without the proper spray booth with through air put, and just done in a tent. So the body's going on. Sorry about the glare on the left hand side. So getting everything prepped, bringing it all out, ready to truss and support the body. The idea is to wheel the chassis in underneath. So engine hoist going into position to lift up the whole body. Briefing to the wife on how to do the job and how I plan to go about it. Very tolerant lady. So supporting little axle stands at the back, so I can now bring up the front end. And I tie it off and find that tying it off didn't work. So here I am using the Spanish windlass method to try and haul the body up a little bit higher. Get the engine hoist out of the way so I can wheel the chassis in, and it needs a little bit of adjustment, we find. So lift the car body up a bit further and try again. And eventually we managed to get the chassis in pretty much in position underneath the body, although still plenty of jiggling needed to be done. As you can see, quite a bit of chat, a lot of planning. Let's try it, let's go around, all desperately hoping not to damage any of the paintwork and to get everything lined up on the chassis. A final wiggling, and it's just about there. Gentle adjustment from the wife as I'm trying to get bolts and things aligned. And there it is, basically sitting on the chassis. Okay, connect up the steering. Do up 1 or 2 nuts and bolts which hold the body on. And so let's have a walk around the car in the workshop. As you can see, quite a good shine. Boat tail back end. Oh yes, I was going to tell you guys what this car actually is. It's a one of 6 cars built by Bond to celebrate their 16th anniversary and this one's termed the Snetterton Special. They're all named after racing tracks around the UK, and they're all loosely based on 1930s car. This one's based loosely on an Alfa Romeo. As you can see, had to put the fuel tank and everything in before I put the body on, otherwise I'd never get it in really with the body in position. Very, very hard to get it in. First bulkhead in, floor panels are just resting at this stage. The instrument panel's not in, although there's some of the wiring just starting through on the charging system. Spare wheel carrier's been put on. It's a 2 litre straight 6 engine. You'll see the state of the bits of the engine in some of the slides later on. All the plumbing joined up, so the fuel lines are in. You can see most of the brake lines are run. All mounted up on their mounting brackets to hold them firmly. The only bit that looks a bit out of place is the silicon HT leads. Coming around the front, there's a radiator with an electric cooling fan. Originally the car had no cooling fan at all, so there's no room to put the fan behind the radiator, so it's going in front of the radiator. There's just enough space in the cowl. The wings and that are on the rolling chassis. I had 2 wings from the car, the original wings, which were in some form of reasonable shape, one rear, one and one front. So I had to manufacture replacements, so I ended up making all 4. Just a quick look in, sorry about the glare again, looking in at the floor, looking forward to the pedals, pedal box area. You can sort of see the filler caps on, rear lights are now connected. That's another look at the rear wing, which has been stove enamelled. You can sort of see quite a reasonable shine off the body, considering it was sprayed inside a tent. Old-fashioned cellulose paint, so it takes your time and you put a lot of coats on, so there's a lot of chance of getting dirt and grit in there. I was actually very surprised on how little dirt was included in the paint. I'm really to be pleased with the finish. Not perfect, but not bad, and for a car that's this age, pretty good. So here are some of the photos from during the rebuild. That's what the bodywork was like inside, and then that's the repair I carried out. Repainted. Before and after on one of the panels, I made a replacement for one side. Bulkheads, that's the gearbox as I had it. You can sort of see the state it's in. Stripped it down. Vapor blasted and put back together. That's the engine in its complete form. That's inside the cylinder head. You can see the state of that, and after I'd finished working on it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.